All right, everyone. Interesting collaboration and news today. Tesla and Palantir. This is one of the... Tesla and Palantir. These are two companies that are some of the most innovative companies in the world, and we have wanted them to work together for a very long time. There's a lot of different reasons why they would work together, a lot of different connections. Well, we have been theorizing it for a long time, especially in the Paluncher community, of maybe they're working with Tesla, maybe they're working with Tesla. Maybe they are. This article I published on dailypalantir.com yesterday. I did not break this news. This news was breaking by someone else, but I'm covering it, and we're going to talk about it here today. This story is breaking, currently in development. Two Twitter users, EtherSquare and The Cameroon, I definitely recommend checking out both of them if you're into Palantir content at all, have consistently been looking for companies that may potentially be using Palantir's Foundry software. Their methodology for figuring this out is they go through different data sets and look at subdomains associated with them. EtherSquare ended up publishing an entire dossier of all these different companies, including Pfizer, United Airlines, etc., that have subdomain Foundry Palantir links. More often than not, when they try to do this, the link will return nothing, which means it doesn't exist. EtherSquare was one of the first people to use various different countries during March to figure out that Lithuania, the UK, and more governments were using Palantir, and they typed in certain types of things that were associated with those governments that they found from other subdomains to then link them back to Lithuania. It's a very interesting process, and there's a lot of trial and error, but when you end up finding the right link, it will look something like this. So if you click on tesla.palantirfoundry.com, so when you see this link, tesla.palantir.foundry.com, it's not supposed to work. And for the past couple months, we've been trying it and it has not worked, which means the link doesn't exist, right? So let me show you an example. Let's take .palantirfoundry.com and the rest of it here. And we're going to put in a random username. Let's put in, I don't know, let's put in Apple. Well, we get nothing, right? Apple.palantirfoundry.com means that Apple's probably not using them. So if we put in, and this is basically what we would get every time we put in Tesla over the past couple of months. But now it's working. Now it's coming to a login page and a user can log in, and actually if you have the user domain and you have the password, you can access theoretically this link that may lead to Tesla. Now, the one bit of skepticism here may be that Tesla's a code name, but I just find that very weird to think of, and that's what I put in the article, which is like, you could say that, okay, Tesla's a code name for another company, that's where they're using it, but that doesn't make any sense, right? When you use other names, they actually work with that link, especially if they're governmental or specific company names. And if Tesla's actually using them or some other company, why would they use a code name if all the sales, marketing, finance, accounting, all like supply chain, all of these different people are going to be using that link to log in to the company's database associated with Palantir Foundry. So you don't want to use some like random link, right? It kind of just doesn't make any sense. EtherSquare has also unleashed the entire list of names he found here. This was one of his dossiers, and this has a bunch of different names that you guys can see when you check it out. It is on the website itself to check out all the different companies that potentially would be using something like Palantir Foundry. So definitely go check that out. Now, the interesting thing here is why Tesla and Palantir would work together. There's a couple of things I want to talk about here and why I think they can collaborate. So first of all, first thing, very obvious, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, they know each other very well. They were members of PayPal and they kind of built that company together. Now there is a lot of, or there might be a little bit of bad blood between them because there was some stuff where kind of Peter Thiel kind of ousted Elon from the company. There's a lot of different history that goes into it, but also we know that Peter Thiel invested into SpaceX. So, we know that they both know each other. They both have a relationship with each other. Maybe they don't both like each other the best, but they both are heads of companies that are very big, very innovative in terms of the technology, very differentiated in terms of their technology. It would make sense for them to want to work together. Number two, Palantir was just named as a leader in the Forrester Wave report, which is one of the industry standards reports for the best enterprise AI B2B SaaS companies. Palantir is one of the top 15 companies that was on that list that was announced literally yesterday. So we know Palantir is one of the most innovative companies when it comes to this type of technology and this type of ability to offer enterprise AI solutions. Tesla is one of those companies that's also one of the most advanced AI companies in the world. What is Tesla looking for? Making sure that their advanced general artificial intelligence, or AGI, is the best it can be when it comes to two things. Number one, the robot, which is, we'll see whenever we get that. But number two, they're electric vehicles. They're autonomous vehicles. They want to make sure their autonomous vehicles are the best autonomous vehicles in the world. Well, okay. So if your autonomous vehicles want to be the best autonomous vehicles in the world, you are creating your own data, which means Tesla's like a pure data play. They capture billions and billions of miles of data as a result of all their cars having their cameras and their sensors collecting all that data and feeding it back into Tesla in the first place. Palantir is not a company that necessarily collects data. This is actually a misconception about Palantir. They are more of the shovels that dig for the gold, when the gold being that data. So they kind of manage, interpret, help you understand that data in a fundamentally differentiated way from a lot of the other companies where there's a high failure rate and when you attach artificial intelligence and machine learning to make sense of that data, but they're not like hoarding data. Tesla is actually hoarding that data because that data is valuable. Palantir is selling a different type of solution, different type of shovel for any type of company managing their data. So there's a couple of use cases that I think this could work out to be for. Number one is Tesla's supply chains, logistics, infrastructure. All of that stuff could be managed by a data analytics backend platform like Foundry. Now, a lot of people will say that this doesn't make sense because Tesla is vertically integrated, which I agree. There is a world in which Tesla just does all the stuff on their own because we know they have done it on their own pretty successfully. But if there is some level of efficiency or productivity or anything they can get from a Palantir software doing that for them or doing it in a more efficient way, then maybe there's a world in which they collaborate on that level, just from a pure supply chain logistics perspective, because Tesla has so many different parts that go into their cars. The second thing, and the more likelier scenario here, is EV charging stations. So we know that Palantir is working with Wejo, one of their SPACs, and Palantir and Wejo came out with an EV operating system. I'll put that video in the description, in which they are literally creating an operating system, that like software, to be able to manage electric vehicle charging stations. Why is this important? Electric vehicle charging stations have to manage network operators. They have to manage the electric grid. They have to communicate with a variety of different vendors. They have to be able to make sure that when energy is being transmitted from the grid to the cars, that transmission of energy is done in the most efficient and effective way, or else you're producing massive amounts of waste, and then the whole thing kind of falls apart. So there's a lot of software and there's a lot of data involved in order to make that actually happen. Palantir has also invested in an electric vehicle charging station manufacturer called Tritium, which is doing a pretty good job and expanding pretty well internationally. And so that software that they're creating with Wejo, which is one of their other SPAC investments, may be utilized by another one of their SPAC investments for electric vehicle charging stations, because they manufacture it and they could potentially use that software that Palantir is creating with Wejo. There is a world in which the supercharging electric vehicle station networks that Tesla is creating, that they're going to have to create a lot more of as Tesla expands, could be managed by an EV OS that is created by Palantir. We know that Palantir creates platforms. We know through the variety of deals they've come up with that they partner with other companies to create entire operating systems that allow other companies within those industries and those niches build on top of for those operating systems. What if they could build an operating system for electric vehicle charging stations or for the supercharging network? These are things that I'm putting out there. I think there's a lot of different ways that these innovative companies can work together, because they truly are some of the most innovative companies in the world. We will see what a portfolio of Tesla and Palantir looks like over the next decade, but you kind of feel like, well, they're pretty unique, and there's no reason they shouldn't collaborate. There's no reason they shouldn't attach their technologies together, especially because they don't conflict with each other. They don't really compete against each other outside of them just not liking each other. So if this link works, and every link that we have found out that links to a company or a government has legitimately been confirmed, especially the United Kingdom, the Ukrainian refugee crisis, that was linked to Palantir Foundry through a link, and then we found out that that is actually happening. It seems very like, you can't help but think that, okay, if the link works, and the link never worked before, there is a world in which these companies are collaborating pretty intimately. And if that is happening, that would be awesome for Palantir to have gotten Tesla as a client. And it makes sense. It's like they should. They're the first-in-class technology company that exists in the world. They have one of the best solutions for the thing that they're trying to solve. You would want a client like Tesla actually utilizing your solution, given how advanced Tesla is as well. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. dailypalantir.com. You can check out the article below. The Discord user that found out this information, I'll also leave their Discord below, so you can join their Discord. It's a Palantir Discord if you want to check it out. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you think that Tesla and Palantir could actually collaborate meaningfully together. See you guys next time. Bye.